Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Imhotep. This was sent to me by Thames Kosmos and is designed by Phil Walker Harding. Imhotep, the legendary architect of the Egyptian monuments. His awe-inspiring structures and brutal tactics earned him divine status among ancient Egyptians. Can you match his ruthless determination to build the most revered monuments? To do this, you'll need to transport stone blocks on ships from your quarry to different construction sites, but you alone do not choose where the ships go. Your opponents have monumental plans of their own and want to prevent your success. A fierce competition for the precious stone resources plays out. Only with the right strategy and a little luck can you succeed. Let me show you how to play. So in Imhotep, each player assumes the role of an Egyptian master builder. You have 6 rounds to transport your stones to the various sites and to erect monuments in such a way that you earn the most points. Whenever your turn comes up, you will select one of the following 4 action options. You can get new stones, place 1 stone on the ship, sail 1 ship to a site, or play 1 blue market card. Delivering the stones gets you various points in various ways. Sometimes more points, sometimes fewer, sometimes right away, sometimes at the end of a round, and sometimes at the end of the game. Whoever has the most points after 6 rounds is the winner. Each player gets their own color stone, and they also start with different numbers of stones depending on who goes first. If you go first, you get 2, the next player gets 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. Also, we have a scoring track over here, where we keep track of the points. So the game is played over 6 rounds. Each round, you turn over the top round card. Now, it depends on how many players you play with. You can play 2 to 4. This is the deck for 4, and let's reveal the first card. Alright, so this tells us the ships that are available in this round. The 2 4 spaces, a 1 3 space, and 1 2 space. So we lay out our ships like so. Then we take our market card deck and turn the top 4 over into the market board over here. So let's see what we got. Okay, I'll go over these later, what these mean. But for now, let's set these out. If you ever run out of these, you just shuffle the discard pile and draw again. So on your turn, you have to carry out exactly one of the following 4 actions. The first action you can do is get new stones. You take 3 stones of your color from the stone quarry and place them on your supply sled. Now your sled only has enough space for a maximum of 5 stones. If you already have 5 stones on your sled, or there are no more stones of your color in the quarry, you cannot take any more stones. Also, if you only have room for 2 stones, you can only take 2. Another action you can do is place a stone on a ship. Let's say player 2, the brown player, decides to put one of his cubes on a ship. So he goes, let's say he decides to do this ship right here. If you don't have any stones in your sled or there are no more spaces on the ships, you cannot take this action. Another action you can do is sail one of the ships to a site. However, you must observe 2 conditions. First off, the ship must already be loaded with at least the minimum required number of stones. If you look at the ships here, like this ship right here, this tells you this needs at least 2 stones on it in order for it to sail. The bigger boat would need 3 stones. This little boat could actually sail now with only 1 stone required. And the other condition is that the site that the ship is sailing to must still have an open dock. As you can see here, there are slots where the ships can port. In other words, no other ship can have sailed to it in this round. The ship's stones are then unloaded by their owners in order from front to back and delivered to the site. So let's say this ship had these 2 stones on it. And let's say we sail them off to the market. Let's say one of the players decides to send this ship to the market. Now, this might not necessarily be where the brown and black player wanted to go, but now they have to use their blocks here. I'll go over how the market works and how the different sites work later, but for now, just understand that if you sail a ship to a port, then the stones on that ship now activate at the port from front to back. So it's important to remember, you don't have to have a stone on a ship to sail it. If you want to mess with somebody's ship, you can send them to somewhere where they clearly don't want to go. But once this ship is here and the stones are gone, this ship stays here till the end of the round. That way you can see which ports are still available. And the final action you can do on your turn is play a blue market card. These usually have a benefit of some kind, and you discard these once you play it. Like here we have the chisel. You can do one-time action, place 2 stones on 1 ship, or place 1 stone on each of 2 ships, which is pretty good because normally you can only put 1 stone at a time on a ship. And that's pretty much it for actions. Those are the 4 actions you do, and then you don't stop until all 4 ships have sailed. Since there are only 4 ships available each round, that means one of the 5 boards will not be sailed to in each round. Now, before I get into how the end of the round works, let's go over each board. First off, we have the market. And how the market works is whoever's stones get sent here can immediately take any one face-up market card. The stones that are used are sent back to the quarry or supply, but the cards are placed face-up in front of you. Red cards are placed immediately. I'll show you some of those in a second. Blue cards can be played on a later turn, and purple and green cards, they're statue and decoration cards, will earn you points at the end. For example, this statue card, for every other statue you have at the end of the game, it'll be worth more points. So like if you have 5 statues, that's 15 points. Here's a lever. It's a one-time action. You can sail 1 ship to a site. You can decide for yourself the order in which to unload the stones, which is pretty handy. Let me show you a few other cards. Here's one of those instant red cards. It's the paved path. You immediately place 1 stone from the quarry on your obelisk. And then obelisk decoration at the end of the game. Earn 1 point per 3 stones in the obelisks. Your own plus others' stones. The next board is the pyramids board. You immediately place stones in this fashion, filling columns top to bottom from left to right, and you assess points immediately when placing the stones. Let's say this ship sailed here. Brown player would get 2 points, then gray would get 1, black would get 3, and white would get 2. So as you can see, the order of which blocks are placed on here is very important. And as you build up, you get different points as well. So if the bottom level was completely built, then there could only be 4 more stones on the second level, and it would be 2 points, 3 points, 1 point, and 3 point, respectively. And then the final stone on top would be worth 4 points. After that, each stone here only earns 1 point each. And like I said, this is a board where your points are assessed immediately. So as soon as you get them, you would move your points along this score tracker. The temple is a board where you assess points at the end of every round. So you would put a stone in the next free space in the temple, starting from the left until the first level is full. And then you would keep going on top, on top, on top. So let's say these 5 stones were laid down through a round. At the end of each round, you can earn 1 point for each stone that is visible. So the brown player would get 2 points, black would get 1, gray would get 1, and white would get 1. But let's say that there were 6 stones delivered. Let's say another stone was delivered, and this covered this. Now it would be 3 points for brown, because it's for every stone that's visible from above. You continue stacking left to right. There is no height limit for this. The burial chamber gives you points at the end of the game, and you get points for every number of connected stones. You start in the top left, and then you build downward column-wise. The goal of this board is for you to connect stones adjacently, not diagonally. So for example, if I had a group of 3 brown stones connected to each other, that would be worth 6 points. And as you can see, this keeps going throughout. You don't calculate these points until the end of the game. So if you look here, this little connected pair of 2 would be worth 3 points based off the score chart. And when you look at this at the end of the game, you'll add up each connected group. So a single stone is only worth 1 point, but if you can manage to connect these together, you'll get more points, up to like 15 points for 5, or plus 2 more for each, and so on. So yeah, you're kind of trying to time it right so that your columns or your stones get placed in columns right next to stuff that is already your color. And then finally, we have the obelisks board. You assess points at the end of the game. This one's very simply just put stones on your tower matching your color. So you would, as stones slowly build here, you'll build these up. And then this tells you how you calculate at the end. The tallest obelisk at the end gets 15. The smallest will only get 1 point. Now, each board has another B side. I'll go over those later, but basically those are the different boards for side A. At the end of each round, when all 4 ships have sailed, you assess the temple and see how many points that gets for every stone visible above. Then, after that, you would return all the ships to the pile. You would gather up any market cards that weren't taken and discard them. And then any stones that are placed on the boards and in your sled tokens would stay in place. Then you just flip over the next card and see what new ships are going to be used. This one's going to have a lot bigger space. Starting player for the new round is the person to the left of the player who sailed the 4th ship in the previous round. After 6 rounds, you count up all the different points for the end of the games, like the burial chamber, the obelisks, any end scoring cards you would have, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Otherwise, whoever has the greater number of stones in their sled token is the winner. Now let's look at the B sides, because you can mix and match different sides of the boards depending on how you want to play. If we look at Market B, in this one, you would place 2 cards face down on the card space at the bottom right. And then, for a stone delivered to the market, you can pick up both cards and look at them, then select one to keep and place the other one face up on the discard pile. So that one's an option for you. You don't know what they are, but you have 2 cards to choose from. For the B-side pyramids here, you get to decide which of the 3 pyramids your stone is delivered to, and some of them will yield special bonuses. Like this one, you get 1 point and can take the top market card from the draw pile. This one, you can get 1 point and immediately take 3 stones from the quarry and place them on your sled. And this one, you get 1 point and can place 1 stone from your supply sled token on any empty space of a ship that has not yet sailed. So those are pretty juicy bonuses. Like the pyramid on side A, you start on the top left and build downward in each column, left to right. And each stone on top is worth 4 points. So these only build up 2 levels. Side B of the temple, you actually get various bonuses for each stone visible above. So this can give you kind of more of an incentive to go for the temple. For this one here, you can get 1 point, or if you prefer, you can take 2 stones from the quarry and place them on your supply sled token. This one's just a straight up 2 points, but this one means you get the top market card from the draw pile. So yeah, instead of getting points at the end of every round, you can get bonuses instead. B-side burial chamber works a similar way, except for the following differences at the end of the game. The players earn points for having the greatest number of stones in the 3 rows. Depending on that, you calculate points earned per row for most of fewest stones, 8420. And the stones in these rows don't have to be adjacent. And then finally, the B side of the obelisks works just like the A side, except for the following differences. Each stone delivered here is first placed on a space with the corresponding color. When the 3rd stone of any given color is delivered, these stones immediately have their value assessed. So the 3 stones are stacked in a single tower on the free space with the highest point value. Let's say the black player had put down 2 black cubes already and finally delivered a 3rd one. So they would get to immediately stack these in a single tower and put them on a free space, in this case the 10-point space. So instead of trying to get the tallest tower, you're trying to race to stack towers of 3. There's also a harder variant, there's different market cards, but that's basically the game, is you're solving like 4 different puzzles at a time of point gathering, while also trying to get market cards to help you accomplish getting the most points. At the end of the game, you count how many points you have, and the most points is the winner. And that's how you play. This is a nice breezy puzzle game with very quick turns, straightforward puzzles, and some nice quality chunky blocks. Those blocks are thick. I like those blocks. It's the perfect game to bring out if you need a short game that still has very satisfying decisions to make. The game's all about slipping your stones onto ships in the right order and shipping them off at the right time. There's always a little push your luck of, ooh, should I wait to see if I can do 1 more stone? Or should I ship off right now because a bunch of these assholes might send my ship off to the wrong place? I like that the game can be mean that way. There's that nice player interaction on top of the puzzles where you can shove their stones off to locations they clearly didn't want to go to. And I love that you can sail a ship even if your stones aren't on it for that extra spite. That also adds a lot of strategy to where you place your stones, because you know, okay, if I put this here, I know he wants to go there, so then I could benefit from that. It's a very interesting little kind of way to think about your placement. The market cards add some fun variety to the game for scoring and actions. Honestly, there's not a whole lot more to say. It's short and sweet, but it's smart. Each location's puzzle is satisfying in its own way, and it's ripe for competition and interference. I like that each one deals with spatial concepts in an interesting way, like building up a pyramid, or stacking a wall and looking at it from above, or connecting adjacent colors. The B-sides give that nice variety if you want a little more complexity, or you can, do a little bit of A, a little bit of B. I like that. It's elegant and it's quick and it doesn't overstay its welcome. And I appreciate that it's just a solid, simple game, but with enough strategic depth to it than your average filler game. Like, this is like that nice, right above a filler game, but right below a long-ass game that's just perfect. If you want a quick game, but that's one that's going to give you a lot of thinking to do without long, agonizing turns. Because again, I love that quick turn action of one action per turn. It's very, very good. Very, very clever. I highly recommend it.